Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring to you a video on the best weapon type tier list, Curse of the Wandering Flames. This video explores where weapon types measure up as of Curse of the Wandering Flames, and this autumn major update introduced the Heavy Bowgun. And here's a massive disclaimer. This tier list is based off of data and performances of weapon types, not my personal preference. I do not rate something because I feel like it's better or I have no data backing it. It factually must be better. So, if anyone's trying to clickbait you whatever, saying like, oh my gosh, this weapon's really good, blah, 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 blah. No, we're going to look at the hard-earned data. We're going to look at what factually makes something good, its abilities, etc. And if there's any external factors in this tier list. If it's good, it belongs in the place where it's said to be good or to be bad. First, we're going to start off with the C tier, which is the Lance. This is the lowest of the low, and its prior rank was C, and its current rank was C. And despite the buff for the Lance and the Vernal Invader, it's still the worst weapon in the game. Lance's guard abilities were buffed and power guard counter damage was increased. Despite that, it still is a terrible weapon. If you are still maining this weapon, it's because you like it. It's that bad. So the thing about the Lance is anything that forces you to guard will make you lose DPS, and it's not consistent with its results because again, you must guard. And that's just the whole thing about the Lance. You can poke things to death, but due to the Monster Hunter Now's nature of offense over defense, Lance must be further bumped to climb its way in the tier list. So unless something is done, unfortunately Lance will be at the bottom of the tier list for the foreseeable future. Moving on, we go to the B tier, starting off with the Greatsword. Its prior rank was B, and its current rank, it's still B. The Greatsword has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. It hits hard, but requires a lot of patience and technique for charge attacks and timing for its shoulder tackle. And the aggressive dodge Greatsword style requires you to wait till a monster attacks you. Although you see big numbers, the Greatsword gets punished greatly if you happen to miss an attack. In addition, its slow attack speed makes it struggle to inflict status ailments. If you are using the Sleep Greatsword though, yes, you're going to get a big number, but you're probably only going to get one off, and that's all you're going to need if you're using that Rude Awakener combination. But it's still slow, unfortunately. And that requires you to set up a very specific scenario in order to do that much damage. If it weren't for this, the Greatsword would be amazing. And speaking of amazing, we have the next weapon in the B tier, the new Heavy Bowgun. Its prior ranked, it was not ranked because it was never released, and its current ranked is in the B tier. The Heavy Bowgun is the new weapon type introduced in Curse of the Wandering Flames. It can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time, but requires a lot of skill and patience to make up for its poor mobility. Yeah, you can do all this stuff with the Heavy Bowgun, you can guard and whatnot, but you're going to struggle to maintain optimal range unless you are using close range ammo. And, like I mentioned before, it can guard, but you need a perfect guard to avoid taking damage. The timing is also unique and could create a headache when switching from other guard weapons. For the Heavy Bowgun, you can only perfect guard after you're done attacking. That's really weird, and at the same time, anything that forces you to guard is going to make you lose DPS. Unlike the bow and the light bowgun, where you can just dive and dodge around and just get into your range and start firing away. In addition, it still requires 2 or 3 armor pieces depending on which level of reload speed and recoil down is optimal for your specific Heavy Bowgun build. Due to all these flaws, even though it could pump out a ton of damage, and it's great in group hunts, unfortunately, it's like the Greatsword. It's slow, it's clunky, and it only does extremely well in specific scenarios. Now that we're done with the B tier, we have the A tier, the amazing tier. Starting off with what I thought I would never say would be here until the last update for the Sword and Shield is the Sword and Shield. Its prior rank was A, and its current rank is A. And the Sword and Shield has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. However, in a previous update, Sword and Shield now has increased damage and more perks with its accuracy. I know they said something about the falling shield bash making you invincible or something like that, but I don't think that's a thing, so they either need to fix it, or yeah, they need to do something about that. However, despite this, the Sword and Shield also has the ability to stun monsters with its shield bash attacks. And the Sword and Shield has the most powerful raw melee weapon in the game in the Mr. Beast Sword and Shield. With this, it owns its unique equipment skill where it goes boom after you do a falling shield bash or you use its special skill. So, along with all these factors, and with that buff, the Sword and Shield has now risen and is still at the A tier. Next up on the A tier, we have the Hammer, with its prior rank being A and its current rank still being A. The hammer has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. It continues to boink everything to oblivion, and the hammer has a built-in ability to stun and smack monsters into submission. Hey, you want to execute someone? Forget the guillotine, just smack it and flatten its head and turn it into a pancake. Although it is slow, it can deal large amounts of damage. And expert hammer users are frequently able to break Kushaladior and Teostra's heads to give you a chance at a rarity 6 material. If I go into an Elder Dragon Interception and I see a Boink Hammersaurus in there, I am definitely going to take the Boink Hammer service over a Bone Gunlance user. I'm just saying. Moving on, we have the OG Bowgun, the first that came into the game in the A tier. It's the Light Bowgun. Prior rank is A and its current rank is A. And the Light Bowgun has received no buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. Perfect dodging can reload your entire ammo set when you're empty or add an additional ammo. It can also be fast to reload and maintain critical distance with the Light Bowgun. It's extremely mobile. However, one of the biggest cons and what's keeping it from being amazing, it still requires you to max out recoil down level 3 and reload speed level 3. However, there are now many more options for you to meet this requirement. And 2 of the 5 weapons most upgraded to grade 10 in 2023 to 2024 were Light Bowguns. As the OG Bowgun, and now more than half of my Light Bowgun gold medal was actually from taking out Kushala and over 1,000 Mizutsune. Thanks to this, the Zenogre Light Bowgun, I was able to take out 1,000 Mizutsune in 4 days, 13 hours, and 22 minutes. I still haven't seen a record that's beaten that, even in Japan, so it wasn't possible if it wasn't for the Light Bowgun. That's largely, again, thanks to its mobility. With its mobility, and combined with its decent damage, it's a force to be reckoned with, and still belongs in the A ranking. And now we're bringing it back to the melee weapons. In the A tier, we have the Charge Blade. Its prior rank was A, and its current rank is A. And the Charge Blade has received no buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. It continues to be the most technical weapon type in the game, with the Sword and Shield mode and the Axe mode, as well as its guard points, allowing you to time perfect guards and stay aggressive during hunts. Unfortunately, the one thing that's really been the bane of existence for Charge Blade mains is those impact files. That's just how it is. There are impact files transitioning from the main series games onto Monster Hunter Now's Charge Blades, and this hasn't made it a little displeasing for Charge Blade mains, wishing you had the elemental files. But despite this, again, the most technical weapon, incredibly powerful, and it still belongs in the A tier. And last but not least, we have for the A tier, the Gunlance. Its prior rank was A, and its current rank is still A. The Gunlance has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. The Gunlance is really good because it's flexible, allowing for multiple different styles. You have Worm Stake Shot, and you also have Charge Gunlance style. And what's cool about the Worm Stake Shot / cannon, it is able to proc status effect build up quickly when using status elements. So if you put one stake in the bum of said monster, its booty is probably going to get inflicted with that status. And through no fault of its own, it's actually my personal disfavorite. Not because of the Gunlance, I think the Gunlance is fine. You're using the Joe the Magnamalo ones, by all means, go ham. But the Bone Gunlance, the Bone Gunlance has been the bane of group hunts and failures, possibly heavily contributing to Kushala taking first place in the most challenging monster hunts for the 1-year anniversary data. From personal experience and through a lot of woes I've seen on social media, unfortunately Bone Gunlancers are wiping like mad in Kushala and probably to this day, even though I haven't done much of them because of the fact I already have my 10-5 Kushala weapon. But during those hunts, it got to a point to where if I saw a Bone Gunlance user, I'm backing out because I'm not going to waste my time. Speaking of time, we now cover the big kahuna, the best of the best, the S tier, starting with Dual Blades. Its prior rank was S, and its current rank is S. And the Dual Blades has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. It requires a bit of skill to master, but has long been one of the best DPS melee weapons in the game. I was kind of hilarious because I still remember one time this guy was really adamant about the Dual Blades not being that great. Like, if you look at the Japanese tier list, they haven't, I don't know if they've updated, but a while ago it was on S and likely still going to be on S, especially because it got buffed in Dancing in the Tempest. So for a long time, the Dual Blades has been considered one of the best DPS weapons in the game, and certainly still belongs in here, especially with that buff. And if you want to rejoice, the thing is, the dual blades are able to quickly proc blast with its new blast dual blades. Magnamalo really made y'all exciting because blast dual blades are really good, and if I really wanted to put my resources toward it, I definitely would go after a 10-5 Magnamalo blast dual blades. But it is that good, a lot of fun to use, but factually also very strong, and something you and other hunters are going after. Moving forward, we have the second melee weapon in the S tier, which is the longsword. Its prior rank was S, and its current rank is S. The longsword did not receive any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. The EI Spirit Gauge grants longswords a huge damage boost when it's full, making it incredibly powerful. Literally, this one gauge boost lets you see big numbers and lets it do incredible things. It is also, to this day, the only weapon that can nullify and counter nearly any attack using the EI Spirit Slash, and the only weapon type with a mechanic that can perform this feat. This simple mechanic makes it one of the most powerful weapons in the game, and definitely belonging in the S tier. And along with that, 1 out of the 5 weapons upgraded to grade 10 the most in 2023 in the 2024 data was a longsword. And finally, the only ranged weapon, and possibly the most powerful weapon type in the entire game, in the S tier, we have the bow. Save the best for last! The prior rank was S, and the current rank is still S. And the bow did not receive any buffs or nerfs as of Curse of the Wandering Flames. The bow is the most powerful ranged weapon type with its charge sidestep mechanic. Without needing to reload, its charge shot and damage level system allows it to do massive amounts of damage despite requiring focus level 5. But for you bow mains like me and all the other ones out there, rejoice! Because the new Regen Coil gave bow builds the flexibility to make them even more powerful. Which is really unfair because now you only need 2 armor pieces to get the focus level 5. Well, it's unfair depending on how you look at it. And to cement itself as possibly and honestly the most powerful weapon type in the game, you have the Black Diablos bow, which is the most powerful raw weapon in the entire game since its release. In fact, the most used weapon by hunter rank 100 plus and upgraded to grade 10 is the Black Diablos bow when we look at the 1-year anniversary data. In addition, if you want more of a justification why bow is the best and absolutely amazing, the Kushala bow is the most powerful ice weapon, and the Teostra bow is the best blast weapon in Monster Hunter now.
Continue to burn. Fire whoever designed that bottle. Kaiba Corp's products shouldn't bend that easily.
Yes, understood.
Ah yes, that's probably how some of y'all feel about the Heavy Bowgun, including me, but don't fire them, just buff it in the future, please. Now the thing is, some weapon types are just factually more powerful than others. Despite how you feel about it, you're not supposed to take a ton of damage in Monster Hunter now or put yourself at risk of doing so. Therefore, the Heavy Bowgun just deserves to be in the B ranking. And hopefully more weapon types get the super weapon treatment like the Sword and Shield did with the Mr. Beast Sword and Shield. The bow's super weapon dominance needs to be challenged. So super weapons are either the most powerful weapons in the game, and along with that have a unique mechanic that makes it stand out, and that's what the Mr. Beast Sword and Shield did for us in Monster Hunter now. So hopefully we have another one like that for other weapon types. And consider practicing other weapons just to gain more knowledge and see if you would like to switch one day. I want to get all the weapon types gold, so I'm working on Sword and Shield and Dual Blades right now. I already have them at silver, and I'm pretty dang close to gold in both of those. So I want to practice with every weapon type as much as I can, and every week I try to do at least 5 kills with each weapon type and learn more about it every day so I can get better, and so when I go after their gold medals, it's easier for me. Please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Hopefully your weapon arrived on the place you want it to be, but despite that, unfortunately if it did not, that means it factually doesn't measure up to the rest. And maybe it will be in the future if it gets a buff or something like that. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.